Yo, what's up guys, it's King Sean here, and we have breaking news. This isn't unexpected news at all, but it did just break today. The Commanders are officially releasing defensive tackle Jonathan Allen, and this isn't a surprise. Over the past couple of days, we've heard that we really haven't been able to get a trade suitor for John Allen, not much trade interest for him, and that's due to several reasons, right? That's due to him being 30 years old. That's due to him coming off of a torn pec, right? Although he came back, still a torn pec he suffered last season, right? That's his production dropping over the last couple of seasons now, right? Especially this past season, right? And also, this D tackle draft class is absolutely loaded, so you can just draft a D tackle, develop that guy instead of trading for a 30-year-old coming off a torn pec and has production that has dipped over the past few years, right? So it's not a surprise that we weren't able to trade John Allen. I wish we could have gone like a 6th or 7th round pick, but I'm not mad because he just didn't have much of a market, right? Like, I would have been happy with just receiving a 6th round pick for him, right? So we are releasing him, and we're going to be saving $16.5 million against the cap, and that's really good for us. We were going to save these $60 million either way, cut him or trade him. We were going to save this money, so it just made all the sense in the world moving on from John Allen. And at first, I didn't think they'd do it because D tackle is a need. Like before, even if we didn't trade or cut John Allen, right, D tackle would have still been a need, right? We needed to make some changes, and obviously we went with moving on from John Allen, which I don't disagree with at all. You save a ton of money, and John Allen just hasn't been as good over the past couple years as he was back in like 2021 or 2022, right? Like, he was an elite D tackle back in 2021 and 2022, and those 2 seasons were after he got that big contract extension, right? So he had the best 2 seasons of his career thus far after getting paid big money, right? So I wish John Allen nothing but the best of luck, man. He was one of, if not the best interior D lineman for the Commanders, or for Washington, right? Like, obviously played with the Redskins, Washington football team, Commanders, all 3 names. He went through 3 different regimes: Jay Gruden, Bruce Allen, Ron Rivera, DQ, and Adam Peters, and obviously Dan Snyder under all those guys, right? So, or besides Adam Peters and DQ, obviously, but, you know, John Allen, he's been through a lot here, and it just kind of sucks that his last year here, he finally saw success, right? Like, he came from Alabama, where he only saw success. He only saw national championships. He only saw SEC championships, right? So coming from that to a team that hadn't won anything in over 2 decades, yeah, that must have been hard for him. And I know he spoke out a lot of times, which rightfully so, right? Like, he was one of our best players here, and he had the right to speak out because, I mean, he was frustrated, right, with everything that was happening, all the losing, all the bad vibes around the building, right? He had a right to speak out, and that's what he did a good amount of times, especially back in 2023. We all remember the infamous Giants Week 7 post-game interview with JP Finlay, and John Allen just basically went on a mini rant, right? So, you know, I don't blame him for going on mini rants like that, getting frustrated because, you know, his time here, most of his time here just wasn't good at all, right? Until this final season where he finally saw success, and weeks later, he gets cut, right? So, you know, I hope John Allen nothing but the best of luck. And I do believe that John Allen will have a market. I mean, a couple teams like the Cardinals and the Niners have already reportedly been interested in John Allen. They were interested in a trade for John Allen. Like, even the Deebo Samuel trade, we try to include John Allen in that package. We try to trade John Allen for Deebo Samuel, but because of the contract, the Niners just weren't going to go for that, right? So with him being released now, don't be surprised if the Niners decide to pick up John Allen because they were interested in him when he was available for trade, obviously. So I can see that happening. The Chargers and Cardinals also interested in him. The Cardinals specifically think he would fit very well in their defense for sure. So definitely could see him going out west and playing for a team out west, right? But once again, wish John Allen nothing but the best of luck. I want to talk about a couple more things before I get on out of here. It was just announced that we have extended an exclusive rights tender to running back Chris Rodriguez Jr. So I'm pretty sure, I don't exactly know what a tender is. I still got to find more information about that. Like, I know all the stuff about the cap space, franchise tag, transition tag. I don't exactly know what a tender is, but I'm pretty sure it's like you putting a player on like a contract, like a short contract, a 1 or 2 year contract, and a team could pick them up, but they would have to pay a certain draft pick, like a second or third round pick. It depends on the tender you put on them. Like, for example, if it's like a second round pick tender you put on them, if a team wants that player, then they would have to pay up a second round pick. I don't know. I think it works something like that. I could be wrong though, but we have decided to place a tender, an exclusive rights tender on Chris Rodriguez Jr. So I find this very interesting. Didn't really expect him to be back. However, this doesn't surprise me. He had some solid games last year. The Titans game, he had like 13 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown. The Falcons game, he had a touchdown in that game, and he had a couple of nice catches as well. And he was running hard in that game, right? So, thought Chris Rodriguez Jr. had some really nice moments last year. He also had a good game versus the Giants the second time around, right? So, he's a guy that's probably being brought back, to compete for a roster spot. I still expect us to bring back a running back or bring in a running back through the draft, right? So I'm not worried about that. But they're probably just bringing back Chris Rodriguez because they really like him. They liked what they saw from him last year, and they're going to give him another opportunity to show out during the offseason and try and get a roster spot, right? So it'll be very interesting to see how our running back room looks by September or late August, right? So we have decided to place an exclusive rights tender on Chris Rodriguez Jr. And let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. And then one last thing before I get up out of here. The Titans have announced that they are releasing edge rusher Harold Landry III. This isn't a surprise. Earlier this offseason, about like a week or two ago, they gave permission to Harold Landry to seek a trade, and they weren't able to pull off a trade like us with John Allen, so they're going to release him, and they saved close to $11 million in cap space by doing so. So that's another edge rusher available on the market, and it's not a strong edge rusher market, right? So it's cool to have more options, and Harold Landry is definitely another option. Yesterday, Trey Hendrickson became available, and we were linked to him by Jordan Schultz. We have interest in him, which isn't a surprise at all. We could really use an elite edge rusher like him, right? But if we can't get him, then I wouldn't mind going after a guy like Harold Landry. Hendrickson is definitely my first option, though. But Harold Landry, he's still a pretty solid edge rusher, only 28 years old, turns 29. When does he turn 29? I think he turns 29 later on this year. Yeah, he turns 29 in June, so this summer, right? So he's still pretty young. He's got a couple more years of good football left, right? He put up 9 sacks this past season and 10 sacks in 2023, right? So he's still pretty decent at getting to the quarterback, and he can stop the run pretty well, which we need an edge rusher that can stop the run very well, and Harold Landry can definitely do that pretty well, right? So he's a guy that if we fail to get Trey Hendrickson or any other edge rusher that we're really interested in, I could see us going after a guy like Harold Landry. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below, subscribe, turn on notifications, comment down below your thoughts on the Commanders releasing Jonathan Allen. Do you guys think we could have gotten something for him in trade or not? And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.